Afrofish OG. What is up, everyone? It's a beautiful day. I know over here it's getting some snow and stuff. This Saturday, today we have a super awesome podcast episode for you. It's me, Taylor from Afrofish OG, my co-host Black Scorpio, and our special guest today. You want to say hi?
Hey, everyone.
So this is Techno, co-worker of mine, and also just another excellent YouTuber as well. So today we just wanted to really jump in and talk about a game that I know I've played all three of them. Techno's played all three of them, and Scorp he's working on the third one. You know, it's only been how many years? You know, but I mean, who's counting? But we're talking about Mass Effect, which if you've never played these games, I mean, really, never played Mass Effect? Oh my gosh. The game, I mean, the first game came out in what, 07? I believe it was 07 because it came out around the same time as Halo and BioShock, Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare. Like, just that alone is a super stacked lineup.
And you can see why I haven't touched Mass Effect.
Well, I mean, maybe if someone would actually, you know, expand their horizons. But
all right, I see how it's going to be 2 against 1.
Shots fired already. We're only like 2 minutes.
This is basically 90% of me and Scorp's conversations.
I'm just surprised it took a minute and like 50 seconds in order for the first shot to get fired.
Yeah,
but then again, we had a slick intro, so
yeah. Actually, I'm very proud of that intro because the intro actually, I had to work on. What up, Flamingo?
Hey, Flamingo.
Flamingo's always here. I appreciate it. So the intro actually, the original intro, the audio and stuff, I had to like get rid of because technically it was part of like the copyright thing, and I was still pretty new to what I was doing. So then I had another friend of mine who was like, "Yo, you want to make an intro for me, like intro music?" And he's like, "Sure." So he's like $50, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So then, boom, right after that, got the intro. And I had to just kind of work a little things up myself, but I'm actually kind of proud of how it turned out. But no, so today, you know, I wanted to really talk because Mass Effect is a game that I know I'm planning on going back with the Legendary Collection, which I love the Legendary Collection. Not only is it just super nice, but it also makes the original games basically obsolete. If anyone's ever played the original Mass Effect, like not the Legendary one, but the one back in like 07, that game is it's pretty hard to play. I know.
Well, you're talking to a guy, and everyone can go ahead and laugh. I've beaten all 3 games, and I've counted 32 times. 32.
Holy shit.
I am that big of a fan of the game, but I think I'm one of those fans where even despite the fact that I love this game and I grew up with it, I can acknowledge a lot of the problems that it has.
No, that's totally fair. The game itself is, I mean, it is really, really fun overall, but it does have quite a bit of flaws, especially when you go back. Like, bringing in the Legendary Collection and playing Mass Effect 1, I started realizing, like, holy shit, this is definitely definitely a flawed title. But I will say, though, not as much in the writing and stuff, I actually absolutely adore. Flaws and all, I absolutely adore it. But it just needed more of the gameplay work up, if you know what I mean. And I think it did it really, really well.
Yeah, Mass Effect 1's gameplay, especially when it comes to, you know, exploring and combat, is very limited in contrast to that of Mass Effect 2 and 3. And its level up system was entirely something different. I'm glad they kind of simplify it down when they get to the second and the third one, where it doesn't feel like you have to do so much. They just give you what's basically based on your class.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I know, like, for me, it's with Mass Effect 1, one of my only real, I would say, issues with it was, like the level up system was definitely a little weird. I don't mind some of the level up parts of it, but it was more in depth than I felt like it should have been. And when they took the more action-oriented approach in 2 and 3, that was just a little bit smarter. I mean, hell, but 1 does have a special place, definitely special place in my heart. I know. Scorpy, you're really going through. You're going through 3 right now. It's the first time you're playing 3, correct?
Yeah, it's the first time I'm actually playing 3. Like I just started it up. Actually, like I said earlier in the morning, I just finished going through 1. Again, I'm taking my time with the games. I'm taking it apart because, again, it goes with the whole trophy hunting system. So, like Tech has said, the gameplay mechanics, and also like you said, it's very like linear. So when I played the first one back in 2021, I believe, I said, okay, when I'm going to start this trilogy, I'm going to go through 1. Then I'm going to get all the trophies for 1. Then I'm going to go through the insanity run as I'm going. So I'm doing a first playthrough plus a trophy cleanup plus an insanity run on top of that. So I'm doing kind of 3 things at once. So that's why I'm taking my time with the series. So it makes me feel like I could go back and kind of take it apart as we like progress. Yeah, the first one, very clunky in gameplay mechanics. I kind of got spared, as I would say, with the trilogy collection because I haven't played the original 2007 version, which I'm kind of like blessed for because I would not want to touch it at that time. But overall, first impressions wise of the first one, it was actually really good. The shooting style mechanics and everything, because I'm a shooter. Um, yeah, it had its hit and its misses. The mechanics definitely needed improvements and everything. The leveling up system was a bit difficult to understand because it was all based on morality as opposed to like, oh, here's a few like points, just throw it wherever you want, but like your morals heavily based on how your gameplay is situated. You definitely did have to do a lot more for kind of less in regards of like rewards type style. Other than that though, kind of like linear and but straightforward. It was pretty good. Um the whole concept. So, but that's going on the first one. If you guys like want to delve into the second one, like I could go like a bit by bit as we go. Like I could say thoughts on the first and the second separately.
Right. We'll get to the second one.
Yeah.
Definitely get to the second and get to the third. Too much without trying to spoil it too much. I know you're still working on the third, but
Right.
Well, no, it's fine if it's spoiled because again, like you said, it's been since 2007. We're in 2024. Like it's been X amount of years, so it's like there's bound to be spoilers. But I'm not the type of person like you could say the ending to a game. You could say there's multiple endings to a game. You could say there's multiple endings to a movie. To me, it doesn't matter if the movie or game or whatever it gets said or spoiled. My problem is I don't want you to tell me how to get there. I want to figure that out for myself. It's always about the journey. It's never about the ending. It's
no,
always
Okay.
about like
Yeah.
that makes
how you
sense.
get there, how you
Right.
play.
Well, I will say just real quick, there are multiple endings to Mass Effect 3, but endings, putting the S is putting it loosely. It's just putting it loosely, but I'll let you experience that for yourself. As for the first one, because of the whole Legendary Edition, the one thing that I like is there are a few things they fixed up in the game that are not really like stuff that needed to be fixed, but it was just like stuff that you notice. Maybe if you played the original, you're like, why is this character like this? Why is this character like that? There's a mission in the game. It's a side quest where you have to go onto an uncharted planet, and because there's a probe that crashes that was sent out to the Turians during the First Contact War.
Yeah.
And if you played the original, the person in the hologram that's talking to you who set up the trap is a human, and he's telling you like, I was planning to drive your kind out of the Skillian Verge, but then the Alliance had to foil everything, and now I'm nothing but a joke to the pirates. I'm like, at first when I grew up, I was like, wait, why is he a human? Why would he want to drive humans out? And at first I'm thinking, oh, he's probably means like the Alliance types. He's probably thinking like people who support the Alliance. He wants the Skillian Verge to be part of the Terminus system. Makes sense. They changed that now. And now instead of a human, he's a Turian. And I said, okay, now that makes sense. He's saying, I wanted your kind out of there. And it makes sense considering humans are still fresh, young bloods with the entire Council and Milky Way system. They're still fresh blood.
Right, that
I
was
did not
when
notice that.
that was during the Promethean or Prothean mission, wasn't it? The one where you had
No,
to
it's a side mission, but
In the first
it's a
one?
yeah, it's in
yeah,
the first
it
one.
was a side one in the first one. I remember it like as well. Like, yeah, you come across a hologram, and yeah, it was a Turian.
Yeah,
You
and
would not have
originally
figured
it
it to
was
be
a.
human.
I think someone explained. I got bored one time because they don't really show the character model because when you fight him, um, when he is when he's outside, he's wearing a helmet because the uncharted world you're on doesn't have oxygen. So I actually looked up. I'm like, what is he supposed to look like? And it turns out what they just did is they took the default shepherd when you're custom making him, the one that you're given originally when you're trying to like customize him how you want, and they just put that onto the character. And from what I heard, it was because BioWare was in kind of a rush at this point to put in some new side missions because they had just completed everything else. That they just said, look, this character has to play a role in the side mission due to your backstory, but just make him look however you want. Now that they've given a second chance to remake this, they wanted to do it a different way.
That makes sense. And that's actually really interesting. I didn't not know that at all. Speaking of which, Scorp, I don't know if it's. I think this is the first one or the second one. I don't remember. But some of the side missions, I know. So splitting the side missions in the first one are definitely some of the most tedious parts of Mass Effect.
Indeed.
By far, it was some of the most tedious things I think I've ever had to deal with, especially when it came to the Mako. It was some of the most boring. Like killing a thresh. I mean, killing a Thresher Maw was always kind of cool, I guess, until it wasn't. Oh.
I think I think it was Cortez in Mass Effect 3 says it. The Mako runs like a drunk rhinoceros.
I mean, like no, like that's actually.
I know I saw.
So I don't have my glasses on, so I'm kind of like all over. It's easier because my glasses are all messed up right now. But no, like I hated the Mako in Mass Effect 1 is so. It's actually the reason why I stopped playing as soon as I saw that there was a Legendary Collection, I stopped playing Mass Effect 1 because the Mako pissed me off so badly. It was so terrible. I was like, this isn't fucking worth it.
Like, I got mad one time when I originally played the game because the Mako would kind of like turn as I'm like trying to shoot. And I just yell at my screen, "Go straight, you piece of shit!"
Oh yeah, I'd just be like, "No, fuck this! Like this is fucking terrible." And like after a while, I just gave up. I was like, I'm not down for this no more, dog. Like I was like, I'm just not having a good time. And so once the other one came out, and I was like, oh, this should be good. And you go into your created character, start creating. I'm like, okay, this is it. This is gonna be better. And it was. I will say, it was better. Mass Effect 1, the Legendary Collection, was better than the original, but that's because the bar was like way down here, and like they were like way up here. Like fuck, I don't even know how to even.
Like, I think I could probably say it best.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you look at Mass Effect 1 in contrast to Mass Effect 2, it'd be like comparing a 1992 sedan to a Ferrari, but and that's putting it in the most exaggerative terms. But the reason that it did so much better was, as I told Taylor at work one time, as I told Afro Fish, they didn't really intend for this this game to become such a huge success. Even like some of the makers were saying, they just kind of created it because they wanted to experiment on something that they had never tried before. And then when they did this, they were shocked to find that there was a dedicated fan base. And the one thing I can give credit to the fan base for is that, unlike people who would just like, suck this game's dick and just say like it's one of the greatest games that's ever been made, there were people going to BioWare and telling them, here's what we think you should do for the next game if you do plan to make one. A lot of them, Taylor, you're going to agree, get rid of the Mako. Just get rid of it.
Oh yeah, get rid of the
And,
Mingo. Like,
yeah, they said get rid of it because a lot of fans said while sometimes it was a little bit fun, it was cool to drive a tank and take down enemies with ease, it was way too wonky and using it was too tedious. It felt like the same thing no matter what mission, even if it was a main storyline. So what they tried to do for Mass Effect 2 was this. The emphasis would be more on the combat and the story rather than the exploration. The exploration would still be there, but it would not be as expansive as it was in Mass Effect 1.
No, and that's totally fair because, I mean, Mass Effect 1, the thing that got me hooked into it was, one, it kind of felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt very, very different. You know, I mean, when you first kick the game up, and you're like, oh, okay, like I don't really know what I'm getting into, you know, and that felt great. That part felt amazing, you know, and I had a lot of fun with just going into the customization's actually pretty good. You know, it's not super, super, super in depth, but it's actually pretty solid. And like my characters are always kind of ugly, but that's fine. You know, they never really turn out exactly the way you want them to. But other thing is funny that like in the Mass Effect 1 and 2, they tried to base it off of I think they tried to base it off of Sigourney Weaver. Um, so like the default, but it just didn't turn out very well. But like I always chose like the first time I think I ever chose a soldier, and then I just kind of stopped because it wasn't fun. And then I chose a Vanguard because I was like, oh, I'm just a heavy hitter. And I was like, I like that because like I'm a very simple man. Okay. Like I'm not even gonna try doing like all this stealth and all this stuff when I can just hit you with a shotgun to the face. And that's pretty much it, you know?
Yeah.
And so in Mass Effect 1, honestly, it doesn't really fucking matter. Like what your class is, because like you can still use, for the most part, you can still use shotguns, you can still use assault rifles, you can still use pistols. Like it wasn't until 2 where the classes felt more individualized. Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Also, I will say Adept was like one that I was expecting to be a lot more fun, but it wasn't. Like, I ended up. I don't know when you play 1. I think it's, and I don't know if you can classify this on as tech or not, but like I think it's the tungsten. I think it's the tungsten bullets. I think it was that like bypass shields.
Yeah, the tungsten ones are the ones that bypass the shield.
Yeah.
You then have the shock ones that more so disable the shields quickly, and then you have your other rounds, incendiary and what are they called? Hammerhead rounds. So you have all those different things that can do different types of damages, and they took that out of the game because if I recall correctly, a lot of people kind of forgot those things were like in the game a lot of the time. They were more concerned with getting the new gun.
They made it broken.
Huh?
They made it broken.
No, not that's totally like true. Like for example, I'm playing Mass Effect 1 again, and I have the Thunder rifle, the Thunder, which is it looks like that skinnier assault rifle. And what I did was I gave it hammerhead rounds and a different firing mechanism, which makes it that it's kind of like a semi-automatic. You have to keep pulling the trigger to shoot it. But the thing is, it is way too OP. It is way too OP because all it does is it can take out a shield in 2 shots and then take out an enemy if I hit them with a headshot with 1 hit or 2 hits and they're down. It makes it too easy. So and this was something that's still a problem within the originals because if you have the right type of modifications to any weapon, you can get past any boss or any enemy with ease. It's almost unfair. And this was something I think they said they couldn't fix because to fix it would require their coding and the programming of the game to weaken the other stuff that was part of the customization of your weapons and your armor. So they said, look, we're just going to have to deal with this. But what we can do is make it that all other assets to that gun could be a little bit weaker if it is modified, make it a little bit weaker. So for example, back then, if you had the extension railing, instead of just it being a one shot, you could just hold it down and it's like your gun would never heat up. It would never overheat. Now they're saying we've changed it to where you have to make it semi-automatic.
That makes sense.
But the weird thing is that I don't remember hammerhead rounds being in the first one, because I know you're talking about the hammerhead rounds, but when I started the third one, I just found out about hammerhead rounds. Are you sure the hammerhead rounds were introduced in the first one? Because I don't remember. Like, I remember the cryo rounds, acid rounds, tungsten rounds. I remember the incendiary, like all those ones, but the hammerhead rounds, I don't remember hammerhead rounds.
The hammerhead rounds, and I could be wrong about this because it has been a very long time since I played the original. The hammerheads originally were an extension of the extension rail, the extension rail that you can put in. It was like an added bonus. Now what they did was they separated them and said, like, now there's even stronger rounds to it. Because if you just got the extension rail for one of your guns, whether it was an assault rifle or a sniper rifle, you were almost God. You could pretty much take down everyone. So they then decided to separate them. And now if you put both of them in, I think someone explained on Reddit, it cancels it out. It cancels it out. So that means your gun's going to be a lot weaker. All you really need is combat sensory and hammerhead rounds.
Interesting. Because I know, like, I did was, like, I used like the tungsten rounds a lot. So I had a gun, I forgot what it was at the time, but it was like it could bypass the shield by like 55%, but it only lowered my damage by like 20%. And so I would use it on like Saren, and it would just eat through his health like crazy.
Speaking of Saren, like, honestly, he was probably one of the best introductions to the Reaper threats, and it works so well for him.
Yeah.
Saren as a villain is absolutely fantastic.
What I like about Saren is is how they try to perceive him at the beginning of the game, which is everyone's telling you how, oh, he has this way of making you believe what he's saying, and then you just join him. And then you have Matriarch Benezia who says, it's not him, it's the ship. It's the ship. It somehow draws you into his beliefs, and you just think he's right. It just somehow brings you in. And then when you get to Vermeer, it's where it's confirmed. It's not really Saren convincing people. It's indoctrination, the Reaper indoctrination. It's right at that moment where you realize, okay, technically speaking, Saren is not necessarily doing the thing that he's doing because this is what he wants to. He's doing this because he thinks he has to. He is honestly convinced the Reapers are unstoppable, but if we work with them, they'll leave us alone. They won't kill us. They won't try to destroy us like they did the Protheans and every other species. And that's how indoctrination works. It's the belief that, well, if we just work with the Reapers and just do what they say, they'll leave us alone. And it just really kind of creates this, what was the word I wanted to say? This uncanny feeling of, if someone like Saren can be indoctrinated and just snap like this and just be easily manipulated, who's to say like you or someone in your squad or anyone else couldn't be indoctrinated?
Well, and I love how it throughout it too. You're watching him, every time you talk to him, and he's like, "No, that's not what they're saying. It's not true." Like it's like he doesn't even fully believe his own shit he's spewing. And so, yeah, it's as he's listening to it, but it's like he can't stop himself from believing this. And so when you finally get to the point where you finally when you finally get him to go end himself, when he's finally like, okay, no, I get it. At this point, there is no turning back. Like, I've made a huge mistake. And
sorry, but maybe, well, here's the thing though, like, as you're seeing his mannerisms, maybe it's because he's being manipulated. Like,
it is.
Like, but that's the thing. Like, his mannerisms, it's not that he doesn't believe, like, he's not believing his own shit. It's like, I'm telling you as is, but my subconscious is not there. It's somebody else is controlling me. Like, I'm saying what you're saying, but I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just a puppet.
Well,
Yeah,
and the thing is when people start saying like when you're Shepard and you're telling him the logistics of what he's saying is not making sense. And the
Yeah.
thing that I loved is like the fact of how much it isn't making sense in his mind. So that's why I'm saying like because then he starts to really what happens is after that at the event on Vermeer, he doubles down. And then he ends up getting the implants into him. And that's when he's like a holy shit moment, like what have I done? You know what I mean? And so to really show how far he was is after he ends up like ending himself, or you get him to he ends his body ends up being taken over, which just kind of went to show that like he was so far gone at this point.
He wasn't just like taken over, like he was nothing but machine. He was nothing but Reaper tech. And that is what terrified me as a kid. I remember seeing that. And I'm not going to lie, this was actually my response. I said, "Oh, wonderful. Saren got an upgrade." That's all I said. Because I was so pissed off I had to fight him again because I didn't have enough Paragon or Renegade to make him do what he does. And so I'm like, great, he got an upgrade. Now what am I going to do? So what I ended up doing is what ended up happening was one sec. Shit, my mic. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, the things were acting up with the Wi-Fi. So what ended up happening was if you talk to Captain Anderson, this is something I also encourage a lot of people who might try it. Use the investigation as much as you can. It isn't just used for lore and codex. It could actually help you dive deeper in the story. Sometimes there's worthless information, but you never know what you could find. But as Captain Anderson explains to you, even before he got manipulated by Sovereign, even before this, he always had a hatred for humanity. As Captain Anderson put it best himself, he believes we're growing too fast, that we're too needy, that we want more, and we're just going to take over the galaxy. It's his biased perspective because it is said that he is familiar with the First Contact War. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense. And the reason that works so well, as I said, is because, as you said, Taylor, and as you said, Scorpio, at first you're hearing him speak. And you're just thinking, look, you're a xenophobic asshole. You're just attacking humans because you hate us. But then you start to realize, okay, he's incoherent. His beliefs are not the same. He says, I'm not being mind controlled. No. I'm not the one who's being manipulated. My thoughts are my own. I'm just seeing it through Sovereign's perspective, though. I can still think for myself. I can still do what I want. That's why I want to kill you. And then Shepard will say, do you want to kill me? Are you doing it because you think I'm a threat to you? Or are you doing it because Sovereign says so? Well, you're obviously trying to kill me, but Sovereign's also telling me to kill you. But really, it's my own decision. Then when he gets the tech implants, it's where he starts like thinking, I was about to believe you, Shepard. I was about to believe you when you said that the Reapers could be tricking me. But, Sovereign then gave me this Reaper tech, and wow, I feel powerful now. And now I see what he's trying to do for me. So now I've let him control me because in the end, he has what's best for me.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And another part, too, that also kind of helps with the whole, like, the fact that, like, Saren has this hatred for humans, which I totally fine with. I mean, it makes sense when you have multiple races, especially the human race, which, you can kind of see it does come up as like they are kind of needy. They are kind of in your, we want a spot in the council. And it's like, bruh, you just got here. Like, you got to work your way up to our level, And so when not only does Saren have that like disdain for humans, but then you see that other Turians do too, which I also enjoyed because you get to see that like it's not just a one person show kind of thing. This hatred for humans makes sense. It's coming through multiple other characters, and not just humans, but other races too. Not all of them like humanity, which also leads to the rise of someone like Cerberus later on, which I also absolutely enjoyed. So, I mean, Saren himself is an absolute. The only knock on it's not even Saren, it's actually Matriarch Venezia, and that's just because I feel like she died way too quickly. Like we didn't get to know enough about her. I know that she's Liara's mother, I believe, but like I wish there was more to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a shame. The only way you can really learn more about her is by talking and using investigation on Liara when you're on the ship. That's what sucks.
Yeah, like she really does. And what also like and that part really kind of bothered me. But then also too, what also bothered me is the fact that like I kind of wish there was just more. I wish there was a way where you could have actually had her break control, and maybe she did the kind of same thing with Saren, where she just kind of ends. You know what I mean? Where she ends herself too. But like it would have been in a way because you had to have Liara there at the time while you're doing this. You know what I mean? I think that would have been kind of cool. I just was really bummed about it. Which also, I mean, I don't know. There was a couple parts also with one that kind of left me hanging, which was like I love the concept of the Thorian because how much it hints at the whole concept of sovereign. Um, the Thorian was really interesting to me. The Rachni didn't do anything. Um, like the Rachni didn't do anything. Like I was like, I saved the Rachni because I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna save the Rachni. Like I think it made sense. Like what their ancestors did to the Krogan beat their ass. Did they were monsters, but this version isn't the same one, And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll let you free, cool, bye. And then I mean, the only thing that was kind of cool is in 2 that you hear that one Asari is talking to you, and it's actually the Rachni Queen. Like,
Yeah.
I thought that part was really interesting. But other than that, like, they don't really do jack shit.
I
And I'm
mean,
not
they're
gonna
just
lie,
basically your lobster dinners on a plate.
like
That's what they
and
were.
yeah, I mean, the thing too is also Vermeer is I don't know why. So I kept Ashley around in the first part, but I found Caden a little more interesting, despite him being so bland. Like they're both bland, just in 2 different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, they were both kind of blind at the same time and stuff like that. And also to go back on to touch about what you were saying about the whole seeing the humans as yeah, just that's human mentality. Like that's the way we humans are. Like we are selfish to assume that we're at the top of the food chain, that we're gonna rule the entire universe. Like I could see why. Like the Krogans and everything is like, yeah, no, humanity has to work their ass to get to the council. It's like, you know what, you guys are an inferior race. You're not a superior race, you're an inferior race. Like, yeah, as humanity needs to work its way to the top. Not like we do have to start from the bottom in order to assume that we're going to be put on equals to these like other species of races. Like, nah, you know what, it's like, it's true. They've been around longer. They're on the council, and they have every right to be mad at the humans for like disliking them. But to go as far as like Sovereign and Saren and everything, and like wanting to wipe them out, that's a different level. But yeah, I don't agree. Like I don't disagree with how they see the human race as being weak and inferior, and not knowing our place on the council.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the console itself, and let's be honest, the console are also just kind of a bunch of dicks. Like
That's an understatement.
like they're just
I mean,
assholes.
I mean, I mean, from the beginning, it's weird because there's only a small minority of people within the fan base that think they're okay, but everyone else just says, "Look, I probably only saved them because it was probably one of the right decisions to do, morally right things." But if it weren't the morally right thing, I would have let them die because
I mean, the first time I picked it up and I played it, I said the exact same thing. I'm like, if there was an option that I could have killed you right now, I would use you as fodder in a heartbeat. Like, I'm sorry, that's the way I play. Like, right away into the game, I'm like, yeah, I'm already seeing you're full of shit. I'm only doing it just because it's a video game and I'm trying to get the morally whatever. But then again, when you put on the whole, do you want to go ruthless and as a non-paragon, as sorry, what's the other word? The other one for it?
Renegade.
You're
Renegade.
either Paragon or you're
Renegade.
Renegade. I'm like, yeah, bitch, I'm sorry, I'm Renegade. I'm like, yeah, no, I could already see you're spewing bullshit. You're a council of like, you're a council of what to me? Like just the nonsense you're already spewing. I'm like, bullet, 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 done.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the thing is like later on too. I'm not gonna lie, they don't get any better either.
Oh,
But
no.
They don't
like
get any smarter.
they just
no.
they just get more and like they
The
double down
worst,
on it.
the worst part is this is something I even will point out in the video I'm making on this is even when you let the council live, when the Reapers do arrive, throughout the first 2 games, they just keep telling you they don't exist. In the second game, they try telling you, look, we believe that you believe they exist. We understand that you think they exist, but we don't see anything. It's like, look at the motherfucking ship. It's unlike anything you've ever seen. Look at Sovereign. The technology is outside anyone's limits. Well, clearly it was made by the Geth. We don't know much about the Geth. They could have easily made this. I'm like, oh my God, you guys are idiots. Then
Yeah,
the
there's
third
only
one
flying
comes.
squids and flying hands in the sky. Like it's
Right,
only
no,
there like with
exactly.
giant laser beams attached to their friggin' heads.
Well,
It's like,
what I would say is this. I'm like, we have seen aliens in the game that sometimes in the game they've made clear we didn't even know this thing existed. Do you really find it hard to believe that maybe there could be like giant killer fucking robots out there? Do you really find that so absurd? And then the third game comes in and you know what they tell you? Well, yeah, you were right. They existed, and we're sorry they attacked Earth, but yeah, you guys are on your own. We got to defend our own planet. It's like, well, I thought we were in this together. What happened to the council about all this unification bullshit? Where was this whole we
It's
have to
never been
stand by
about
as one
it.
galaxy?
It's never been about it. Like, and that's the thing. Like throughout the first one, throughout the first game, second and third, the council doesn't fucking care about you. And so like they just made you. They made you one a Spectre pretty much because oh shit, we have everybody around us, and we probably should make them a Spectre so you can go out and die. Like
pretty much.
but when you prove yourself, they're like shit. They proved themselves, and it wasn't. The thing that's funny is as much as like the council is a bunch of assholes, but then like later on, right after that, you meet up with like best bro Garrus, and like dude, best bro Garrus. That's you don't need no other title. I don't care. Like I'm like, if you meet him and you're like, dude, this dude is awesome. Like there's no way. This guy's just an absolute champ. But then later on, speaking of companions too, you also meet otherwise the other coolest character in the whole fucking game, and that's Rex.
Oh yeah.
like Rex is just such a fucking giga shit. Like you're like no one messes with Rex. Like, and I love that about him. The only one who does is the female Krogan, Eve.
Yeah.
And like, but other than that, everything else is like Rex shows up and he's like, yeah, you ain't gonna fuck with me. I mean, shit, the fact that Rex was ready to turn on you in order to
Get
save
a possible cure.
Yeah, which I thought was awesome. I thought that was actually really, really smart decision. Because of the fact that, yeah, I mean, these are gonna be, they're gonna be free of the Genophage, but what do they're gonna be worse. And could you imagine a Reaper Krogan? You know what I mean?
There is. It's called the fuck. What was it? The Brute.
I thought the Brute was the Batarians.
No, the you're thinking the cannibals. The cannibals are
there are the Krogan elites, the like the big ones that walk around.
Oh, okay, yep. I'm getting
the
this
Brute.
one.
It's a mixture of I think Turians and the Krogan.
That sounds horrific. Like,
well, your reaction is basically what James's was when you're on Palavin's moon. When you see, he's just like, "Holy hell, what is that thing?"
Oh my god, James. Like, I just overall, I mean, the first one is just so great. I ended up, when they choose like which one you want to romance. I actually didn't romance any of them.
Right.
Like, I don't choose to romance anyone. And just because like the one I loved was Tali. Tali was my favorite. And then they were like, "Oh, you can't."
Every fan
it's because she's fucking cool. Fuck you.
No, I'm not blaming you because when asked on their website, like if you did romance anyone, if you've seen it on YouTube, who is your favorite romance option? And they went by male and female, and the top 1 characters were Tali and Garrus.
Oh yeah, because I mean, Garrus is like I said, Garrus is best bro ever, and like Tally is just like she's just awesome. Like she's a character that you want to get to know more. On top of that, the whole Quarian race was honestly one of the more interesting ones.
Oh,
I
no
bet you
shit.
everybody was scared to get under Rex.
Well, no, like, well, I mean, unless
Remember,
you're in
Krogans have 4 testicles. That's 4 times the pleasure.
well, remember too that Asari also appear to whatever race you are too. So like that alone, it's like okay, this is gonna be weird. Because remember, there's that little side mission of the Krogan who's like singing like little songs to her or whatever.
It's not singing. He's reciting poems.
Oh, he's reciting poems, and I'm like,
he's reciting
I was
poems.
like, she's like, oh, I just want him to leave me alone, blah blah blah, and I'm like, dude, this dude's like going above and beyond for you, and you just being an absolute douche to canoe to him.
Yeah, he's mentioned in Mass Effect 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you want this kind of spoiler. Have you done the Rachni Queen mission, Scorpio, where you're on that planet because there's reports of Rachni, and it turns out they've been, harvested?
Are we talking about in the first one, or are we talking about the third?
Third one.
No, like I said, I'm just an hour into the third. Like
Okay,
I'm
so,
just starting fresh.
There's a mission where you have to go because there's reports of Rachni activity within like a different system, but it's not like any Rachni they've ever seen. And there's this webbing where if you burn it and you find this data pad, it says it's asking you to deliver this message to an Asari on the Citadel. It turns out it's the same Asari who you convinced to like be with the Krogan. And it turns out this Krogan went and joined the army or the company that he's with to help fight the Reapers, and he sadly dies.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
No, I liked the whole like, you could have the different companions and all that other kind of stuff. I'm not surprised that Tally became it. When you look at the races, themselves, like, and the main different species, right? Like Asari, Solarians. Fuck Solarians, they're a bunch of dicks. But like, I just they fucking bother me so much. The Asaris were interesting. They're actually like super interesting when you start reading into their actual like what they are. Until 3 when they kind of throw that all out the window. But like these and then even with like the Krogans and everyone, I think I loved learning about was the history between the Geth and the Geth and the Quarians is super interesting to me because that is one of those it's one of those storylines that starts off one way and then right towards the end you're like whoa hold the fuck on. What? Like you did what? So I mean, and I enjoy those kind of storyline where actually you look at both sides and you're like, okay, no, maybe I was kind of quick to judge on it. But when you look at best companion, I don't know, you guys, best companion is obviously Rex and Garrus. Although I put Thane up in my top one as well, especially from 2. The worst one is Jacob, and I will die on that hill.
No, everyone will agree with you. No one really likes Jacob.
It's hard to just like Jacob. Like Jacob is fine, kind of bland until you start doing his like missions and shit. And then the motherfucker cheats on you.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god. I was like, bro.
It's definitely weird because in Mass Effect 2, when you're chatting with everyone, and at first they're very like closed towards you until you do their loyalty mission, then they start becoming more open to you because the idea is, you know what, I can trust Shepard. Shepard has had my back. They have they've helped me out in everything. I can be open with them. I can trust them now. Everyone is always willing to just say, hey, I've got more to talk about with who I am as a person or as an alien. But with Jacob, he's still so fucking close. Or he'll just tell you, well, I could talk about this, but that's in the past now. It's like, well, buddy, we just got done doing this whole thing. The least you can do is let me know more about you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the issue with Jacob is that it seemed like they were trying to create another bro. Yeah, they're trying to create a new bro for you with, but there was already Garrus. And no, Flamingo, it's not that. It's the fact that the game, if you have a relationship with him, there is dialogue that specifically says that he just sees this as a fling. But if you break up with him, he gets pissed off at you in Mass Effect 2. If you break up with him, it's like, you're going to cheat on me in the third game anyway. You're going to completely abandon me. And keep in mind, everyone had their own shit to deal with when they left the Normandy. Thane had to go reconnect with his son, and he was trying to get the healthcare he needed for his disease, his illness. Miranda was trying to track down her sister.
That was also just being really... Yeah.
Everyone else, where was fucking Jacob? On a fucking beach.
He's the shadow heart of Mass Effect.
He's the shadow. He's the shadow heart of Mass Effect.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that sums it up in a nutshell.
It is. Everyone else is all doing their own shit because they want to,
And the guy's lounging on a beach.
Yeah, you went on a fucking beach, dude, and you're saying, oh, I just wanted to stay on the beach, and I got to thinking, if I'm going to fight, I want it to be for something that I want to fight for. I'm like, that's what you were doing on the Normandy, you idiot. You chose to work alongside Shepard. Yeah, you were kind of...
Yeah, they really didn't know what to do with it. Oh, by the way, I also forgot about one other character, and that is the ultimate goat, Morton Solace.
Morton
Solace.
Yes.
Morton is like, that's the meme where he's like, that's why he's the MVP. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
Yes, he is.
Dude, that
he
is
him. The GOAT.
Oh, I fucking love
I especially love the interaction when you romance anyone that's an alien. And if you go and talk to him, he'll say, understanding that this mission is going to be a little bit stressful, I know there's going to be a lot of ways that they deal with it. Some do other exercises, some even find relationships. And he'll point out, like, whether it's with Garrus or Talia, say, I understand that you obviously have I'll use Talia as an example. I understand you have a thing for Talia, and I'm wondering, is it because you're just stressed, or is it because you really do like her? And whatever it is, says, right, well, either way, I recommend making sure that you sterilize yourself. Make sure that you're using all the protective means. I would recommend this. I would recommend that. Also, I will provide music if you need to, maybe a little bit of lotion, for comfortable positions. And you'll go, wait a minute, you're just yanking my chain, aren't you, Morton? Oh, such mockery. I would never do such a thing. I'm a doctor. I'm just here to help.
Yeah,
he jokes about
He's
it.
basically like Sheldon Cooper of Mass Effect.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, you need a stress relief? Here, go have Tally.
But like,
there,
well, the thing too is,
right
also
there,
I'm gonna say, dude, like, Tally's out of all of them, Tally, because when she shows up in the second one, right? Because she obviously shows up in the first, you can't romance her in the first.
And man, she shows up every which way.
And like in the second, like, you just like, she's already like running her own team and shit, and I'm like, okay, like you can tell she's different. You know what I mean? She's not the same, like, she's not as gung ho as she was in the first. But like, out of all the romances, hers is, like I said, like, I think the most adorable, because she is very, what's the word I want to use? She's so cautious about it. I mean, which makes sense because their immune systems are absolute garbage. I mean, so like she's in. Like, when she finally does, she's just like, oh my god, like, you want to pay attention. Like, she's just very.
Well, yeah, that's what's interesting about the romance, especially with Garrus. Like, you can see it with both of them. With Tally, it's because she's admitted that ever since she went on her pilgrimage and she meets the male shepherd, she's always had a crush on him. She's always had a thing. She just never pursued it because, one, she was busy trying to stop Saren. But now that they're in a stressful environment, she feels like she can finally open up to him. With Garrus, it was always more of along the lines of, yeah, he's had a thing for you, but you were his commanding officer. He just never saw you that way until you confirmed it. And even he gets a little flustered, like, wow. And he even jokes, says, never thought he had a thing for men with scars.
Yeah. Oh, dude, after he takes that fucking shot to the face, I was like, did they just kill him off?
Oh, I was so mad if they did. But I just love how he comes back and all I can actually ask is this to you. They didn't give me a mirror, Shepard. How bad is it?
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm just like you walked into and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, this guy, he's an absolute unit. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
He didn't take a bullet to the face. He got shot by a rocket.
Oh, yeah, and just straight up survived. And I'm like, okay.
And even jokes with you and says, oh, please don't make me laugh. My face is already barely holding.
Well, I mean, I love the like actually I'm not a huge fan of like the Batarians or the other race or whatever, but like that whole mission's actually kind of fun. Speaking of 2, going into like Mass Effect 2, this actually took like just one in general took a lot longer than I thought. But like speaking of Mass Effect 2, I will say that one of the best parts is the like seeing the recruiting process, like recruiting all of them are actually really really fun. There's only a very couple letdowns, and I know you guys will both agree with me. Watching Jack destroy the 2 fucking mechs and then having her just kind of weak bitch mode was definitely that they didn't think that one through. Like because when she shows up out of that fucking containment and just starts wrecking everyone, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like this is gonna be fun. And then realizing that she's like, oh, she's okay.
I mean, is it bad that we know why they kind of gave her the basement in the brig, like kind of out of the way?
Because she's the 2000s rocker chick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like,
pretty much the one that's like, yeah, you were good, but you didn't earn your spot up top.
well, and she chose to go down to that bottom part anyways. But like her and Miranda starting to go at it, and I'm like, Miranda, you realize that you're gonna get absolutely decimated, right? Like,
Actually, I didn't see that at all. I think Miranda could actually take on, like, again, she is technically Cerberus's project. Like,
well,
in a way.
Right. She is like in terms of like combat skills, and she does have psionic abilities, but it's going up against someone who's just purely raw psionic ability. And like I don't see Miranda being able to get herself out of that situation the same way that Jack was.
But then again, looking at Jack's mental stability or capability and stability, it feels like her mental capacity is the letdown of her own self. Because during the missions, you see she's more, I'm gonna kill you because I'm on raw emotion, but then at the same time, like judging by her psychoticness, yeah, like I'm sorry, we all have seen The Orphanage. Yeah, you're the stepchild that nobody wanted. Unfortunately, we did that mission, we cried, but there's nothing else to you. You're just another experiment, and
well, and that's why she also needed, because you'll see in 3 too, because she comes back unless you're a fucking moron and kill her off. But like
I killed her off.
Well, but like, but like,
well, okay, sorry, like, okay, again, in my second playthrough with the whole trying to keep everybody alive and shit, I don't know how she died. Like when I play my games, I have the tendency of having that shit luck where something stupid happens. So how was I supposed to know that she was gonna die?
I was like, well, I don't.
No, it's
Yeah, Black Scorpio.
I said I don't
but no, like I think
have.
I think the thing with Jack and Miranda, I liked their interaction between the two.
Yeah,
I just wish there was a little bit more.
Like if he's changing them.
I just all up wanted to see a cat fight between the two, but you know what? At the same time,
It just wouldn't have ended. Like I said, it wouldn't have ended well.
Yeah.
The same with
No,
Legion. The same with Legion and Tallies, though.
He's like mad.
Okay, Legion and Tally, I think would go
Like, I don't know.
more at it. I just think Miranda's and Jack's would just like flare.
Legion's
I
was
felt
the
like
most
flare.
interesting, I think. The fact that his like all of his stuff.
Okay.
Hold on. And, like,
Yeah.
that's like thing. I'm like, yeah.
And as for like
He's
the like,
if you ever invited again.
if you wanted to talk about companions and stuff like that, I think like trying to romance
Oh, yeah,
Miranda
I mean, I
in
would
that
just,
sense
like, now
was a
that I
lot
know
more stressful and harder because you had to do a lot more
And
than
I was
everybody
like,
else.
And
Again,
Oh, yeah.
Cerberus'
she's like, well,
Oh.
now that I know, like, I won't go by him, like, at the
No,
bar.
like absolutely. And so that's why I'm kind of like when I
I
look
would
at
try-
like
Okay. And I was like, fine, that's. And she's
when
like,
I look
yeah,
at both
I don't want to
Callie
make because I feel
and
like,
I look at like Jack and Jackson, I look at
That's
like,
funny.
then-
But I don't feel that way.
and
I think
then,
it's just fun
He
overall. Like
invited us to
both of their romances
Yeah.
actually did
and then I
mine,
don't know who's going.
but it's both. It's interesting because I enjoyed pretty much all of like 2. I don't think there's any part of 2 that I just did not like. Like the only thing I would say that was a little long maybe was the resources, which I actually resourced like on the original one. I resourced every planet. Like I depleted every single planet, and I will never do it again. Like, so that was something that I probably won't do. But this one, yeah, this was like it was fun with 2. Like, I think 2 was actually a really good time in general, and something that I'm gonna have to go play it again. Like, but I know I want to hear your thoughts because it's just your first time going through. I want to hear your thoughts on it, not as much mine.
Like on 3, right?
On 2.
Oh, on 2? No. 2 I finished. 2 again. I platinumed. I'm just doing trophy cleanup, and I'm actually running through it on insanity mode. See, that's the funny thing. So going back to 1 and 2, I got challenged by a mod, like because it's her favorite series, but she just said she wanted me to play it, and see if I could do it on insanity. I told her, I'm like, don't make a challenge you will regret. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm a trophy hunter. I'm like, I will grind. I don't care how long it takes. I will do it. So, like I said, going back, I made sure, like, and she hasn't platinumed it yet and stuff like that. And I told her, I'm like, I will have the platinum before you even get the platinum on the first one. And she's already regretting that because I'm already like the platinum and insanity runs on 1 and 2. So yeah, I will take that challenge. I will like commit to definitely going back, kicking Saren's ass and Sovereign's ass on insanity, which I did with cryo rounds to be like, that was my favorite, not tungsten rounds, cryo rounds.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, and going on to about like, and yes, I did not choose Vanguard if we come to classes and everything. I am an infiltrator because I am that stealth. I have been that shooter. I am that sniper. So I will stealth my ass through the second and into the third. But I do go back, like, especially when it comes to the first and second, like platinuming and insanity runs. I am stuck right now on, well, not stuck, but I am making my way like on the Krogan planet, like with Rex. I'm in that area, still going through it on the insanity difficulty. But like my main thing is I'm just waiting to get to the part with the hive in the second, like to try to keep somebody alive. And who knows, maybe that might switch up my.
I'm not gonna lie.
Aspect
In the final mission's actually not that tough. Like,
it's just more annoying than anything. You just
gotta. The thing is people just thought that like anyone, you could just put anybody anywhere, and I'm like, no. If you, the thing that's funny about the final mission is you actually have to know who the characters are. If you know who they are, you should have no problem. You know what I mean? When you're sending them through the tubes, which ones are you gonna choose? I always chose Legion. Tally's another one too because she's mechanical engineer. But I choose Legion because he's just the same thing or better. You know what I mean? When you've had them first, who do you want to lead? Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. It ain't gonna be no one else but Garrus. Like, Miranda can do it too, but you've been kind of an asshole to me the entire time, and I've known this bro for a while. Like,
well, the thing is that, okay, so like let's touch on that one. See, I put Tally in the tube first, like you said. So I already did something good there. Then I made Miranda lead like our team, and then the other squad I'd put Garrus, but somehow they died.
Really? Yeah. So I did. Okay. Then the first one I actually did Garrus for both. But like I did Garrus to lead the second squad, and then Tally in the tube, and then later on I put Garrus in again. Garrus takes the shot, he gets hit or whatever, but he's fine. And then I had when you have to go through the high part, I have Samara do that. Because Samara is just straight up like she's the most powerful one you really have.
But see, no, but you're saying that, but I'm finding where I went wrong. Like, yeah, if Garrus is supposed to take the shot, then how did I'm still wondering how Jack ended up dying on my run.
I got no clue because I've never had him die.
I had Jack and Garrus die. I'm looking at my playthrough. I'm like, okay, I'm down 2 people.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I never had an issue with that because then the second part I did was when you have to go through the swarm. I had the Justicar with the swarm, And then they're like, "Oh, you find those people and you have to take them back." Well, I chose Thane to go back because if there's anyone who knows how to be invisible, it's Thane. Oh, that being said, Thane's coolest moment is when he's doing that little prayer thing and he just vanishes.
Yeah, that
Like,
is.
and I'm like, oh, like there's a reason why no one caught this guy.
Well, it turns out, like, I don't know if you guys know, there is like the whole select the squad thing that makes it that everyone will live. You just got to select the right squad mate, and you have to have all their loyalty.
And then you also let all their loyalty up. And then I had him disappear, and then the last part when you're like about to go fight the Human Reaper, I think I only bring like Morton, and I think I bring like I don't know, like Morton, and it doesn't really fucking matter because as long as like Rex, I have Rex, Miranda, Garrus, like all the big heavy hitters are all like holding the door, and I just you don't have them lose. I've never had any of them die. Jack goes with them too. Jack sometimes comes with me though, but I think it's usually Morton and Samara that I have, or Morton and Jack. It's really just really doesn't matter.
I don't know. I guess I have the Midas touch of shit when it comes to games, and like I could somehow die from like the most stupid thing possible.
I can see it. I'm also I don't know, but we're probably gonna finish this one up here. I actually have two. I don't know if you guys. I have two more videos coming up.
Yeah,
one of
I
those
actually have to get going right now because
I actually have
a birthday party.
I know I have a long video or a longer video I'm going to be doing with Persona 5, but I also have another one where I'm going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Awesome.
So yeah. But if you want to shoot up your socials real quick, hear your techno before you get scooting.
For those who don't know, Flamingo is a fan of mine as well. But for those of you who don't know, you can follow me on TechnoSynth on Twitter, and you can also go ahead and check out my YouTube channel if you're a fan of the typical just commentary, reviews, and documentary series such as Internet Horrors or Dark Corners, where I talk about true crime. Internet Horrors is where I talk about some of the most evil and depraved people that have been on the internet. And if you're interested in that, go ahead and check out my channel. It's the same as what my tag is right here, Techno.
Be sure to let me know when you're doing another one of those because those are actually really fun.
Well, just to be real quick, like I said to you, the season finale for season 2 will either be a tie between Boogie 2988 or Wings of Redemption.
Okay, so you didn't decide not to do the third one.
I decided against the third one. So, but I'm trying to figure out which one would work well.
I would say Wings right now just because Boogie is going through more stuff. So like. Until he slows up a bit, but that's just me. So,
right.
Alrighty, bro. I appreciate you being on here, Scorpio. You too. Yep. And as you know, I hope you guys check out our social. Check out Scorpio's socials as well, up on Twitch and all that. And as always, I'm Taylor from Afro Fish OG, and I will catch you all in the next one.